Good evening, everyone. I am Deborah Faye of The Deborah Show. And this evening, we have this wonderful, wonderful woman, Akamaye. We call her Changing Frequencies. We've already interviewed her husband, CJ Perry, and I mentioned that I wanted to get her on the show. And finally, you are a hard woman to pin down. Really,
Man,
you just she is a what would you say, a hip hop artist? What would
I
you?
am a hip hop artist.
Yes.
I'm a creative, just a creative. I'm a mother, so I just create on all kinds of levels. So
Would this be one of those levels?
that would be what the latest level.
This is the
Yes.
latest level. Tell us a little bit about who you are. Go ahead and introduce yourself. uh
All right.
Tell
Well,
us.
I am Maya Perry. I was born Lakeisha Page. And when I got married, the priestess that married us renamed us. And so I've gone by Kamaye for what 19 years now. So, but either name works. Lakeisha is my birth name. Akamaye is my spiritual name. Um, and I am also a hip hop artist. My artistry name is Changing Frequencies. And the beautiful piece of work you're holding there is my first solo debut album, Freak Work. And it was fun. It was fun. I got to work with people that I just met that are awesome talents and just wonderful, wonderful people to work with.
That's not all there is to you. You do other things. You're very active in the community, and all of that. Give us a little bit more about the other creative things you do with your programs and different things like that.
Well, like I said, I am a mom. So I was a stay at home mom, homeschooling mom for 11 years. And then recently I transitioned back into the workforce. So I am working as a program specialist for Oklahoma City Parks and Recreation.
Hmm.
And so I just create, I like to hold space for children to be children and come up with, I come up with games and create space for them to be able to learn what they need to learn while they're playing. Because to me, that's the best way to take it in. You're completely open and zoned in. So I like to create space like that for children.
And
As
you
far
are
as
also an acronym specialist.
oh yes, I love acronyms. Sometimes too much. Sometimes too much.
No, one of your programs that I'm particularly interested in is that the one called, is it called Scream Cry?
Cry. Now I haven't
Cry.
done cry yet. One I wanted to do, and of course, pandemic just it shut down a whole lot of things. So we're gonna get creative about it. And cry stands for creatively release yourself. And it's something I wanted to share with the community because I think when it comes to trauma, we often have to push it to the back burner, compartmentalize, and things like that. And I don't know of too many spaces where people are celebrated for overcoming trauma.
Mhm,
And in my opinion, what gets celebrated gets repeated.
mhm.
So, and I've seen that, and that's what I want to bring through Cry. I've done it personally with individuals,
Right,
but not done a collective cry.
right. You're also into the healing arts. A lot of the things that you do is about healing um, the self, the inner self, and things of that nature. You're talking about it very nonchalantly. However, you're very good at what you do. I participated in one of your um, I don't know what it was called, chanted.
Enchanted, yes.
Enchanted,
Oh,
enchanted.
fun.
That was so fun. I did not know what to expect. Um, I appreciated the hugging. What's with you? You opened us up with hugging.
Yes. I personally love touching. I love to be touched. I love to be close. I know that's not for everyone, but for those that are definitely touchers, I've wanted to do a hug club. I've wanted to do a cuddle club. DJ, of course, he's not as much of an extrovert as I am.
Yeah.
So hugging for me is just a moment, to take a breath together
Yeah.
and just really feel each other.
Right.
And I've shared with, I don't know if I've shared it with you before, but because my philosophy about self science is that when I get to look in your eyes, I get to see the only reality that is.
Oh, I love
That the
it.
flesh bags are an illusion. They're going, that's why it goes away.
Right.
And
Right.
so looking into your eyes, I get to see the only reality. I get to actually see myself looking back at myself. And you get to see yourself looking back at yourself. So hugging is an opportunity for us to appreciate the bodies that we're in
Mm,
and share that for a moment with each other and
mhm.
center ourselves in our bodies together, which
Right.
sounds weird.
No, it sounds like a different approach to love, which is, why I'm so excited to have you on the show this evening. Um, One of the things um, that I also want you to kind of like just, I'm finna put you on the spot. Can
I'm
you
okay.
you
Fine.
okay with that? Can you just give us a little sample of anything, hip hop wise, either from your album or like right now off the top of your head, to kind of set our frequency for this discussion.
Um, oh, one of the ones that I've been sharing with the girls. My daughter, my oldest daughter, is 10 years old, and she had been talking about wanting a boy to have a crush on her. And so, that will kind of get your attention. So I was sharing a chant with them,
Yes.
and it goes, just give me a minute. Let me center myself. All right. Go on and get yourself together first. And I'll match your work. Go on and get your education first. And I'll match your work. Go on and get your business first. And I'll match your work. You say you wanna get with this, but you gotta raise the bar and I'll match your work. Get yourself together first, and I'll match your work. And so whenever I am
I love it.
sharing things with them, I want them to have something to say
Yeah.
that is not, oh, you're not, whatever it is. You don't have to have an attitude. Just if somebody's flirting with you and there are things that you can say to them, you may not be ready to date, but this is something you can say to them.
Right.
And so I just try to come up with things that will become catchy enough that if I'm singing it enough, it'll be in the back of their minds as they grow up.
Right. 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 Okay. So now on the Deborah show I have 9 questions. And usually I like for my special guests to select only one. Well, I've changed the format because some of my special guests are like, I won't do more than one. I won't, So I'm gonna let you do whichever, however many you want to do. Um, I'm going to read them off first, and then you just say, um, whichever one or ones that you're going to deal with. And these are about different approaches to love. And it's your approach, your personal different approach to love. What worked for you, what works for you. You're changing frequency. So here we go. Um, what would be the first initial approach to begin interaction with a potential love interest? Friendship, number one. Number two, surveying each other to see if chemistry is there. Number three, do we try to avoid intimacy altogether until a decision is made to become a couple? Number four, what are some different approaches that can be applied even in existing relationships? Number five, how about love by the numbers and other metaphysical approaches like astrology and compatibility charts? Number six, how do we determine when it's time to go to make it an official love relationship. Number 7, what level of maturity are we looking for in our potential love partner or partners? Number 8, do we change up the normal expected questions like, so tell me about yourself, to something that immediately addresses a priority of ours that our potential love partner or partners must have as part of their personality characteristics or some of our other expectations. Number 9, should we make agreements not to try to impress each other and be our natural selves? So, which question or questions are we discussing with you?
Um, Mine. Well, okay. What would be the first initial approach to begin interacting with the potential love interest? That's, I want to address that. And then number 8, do we
Okay.
change normal expected questions?
Okay. All right.
So, as far as keeping with what would be the first initial approach, for me, there has to be common interests. We have to have some kind of common interests, similar values. And that would be the first thing. As far as dating for me was very, very different. But now when I give information about having relationships, I give it from the perspective of who I've grown into versus who I was when I was very resistant to what I consider traditional relationships.
Right.
And so I would say having things in common, having similar interests, liking to having some things that you like together and having some things that you do apart. Um, as far as number 8,
No,
let's
no, no,
see.
no, no, no. Hold up now.
Oh, okay, we're going more into that.
Oh yeah, uh-uh. You know, you're just talking like, oh, it's just blah blah blah. Now come on now. Come on now. Come on with that commonality, similarities, common interests. We don't what's your interest? Make this, it's very personal. So when you decided to approach uh and I'm sure you used did you use the same approach in each relationship when you were dating back in the day? And how did it change when you got to CJ?
Before CJ, I I dated, not exclusively. I'm not a very exclusive person. At least I wasn't, and I'm still not. But circumstances kind of, most people are not that I have come across. You have to have a certain level of maturity to have the kind of relationship that I know that I enjoy. So, as far as dating before CJ, it was pretty much the same. Only nobody had ever done what he's done. So my dating was, I can be kind of alpha, you know. I can be a very alpha female, and so I've just always run my life like that. I'm honest about what I like to do, and so from dancing to hip hop to the School of Metaphysics to our diets, our plans to change ourselves, a lot of those had similar things with them. And for me, that was a plus. We had become friends, and that is where you get to see a lot of whether you have similar interests or not. If you can carry on a long term friendship
Mhm.
and have conversations and share yourself, you really get to know each other before you have to say, well, what about you? You don't have to ask those questions.
Ah,
Tell me about,
yeah.
you get to show yourself because you're in relationship.
Mhm.
Um,
Now, when you say in relationship, uh, Now there are different levels to intimacy. So now when you say in relationship and you're talking about sharing, you got to have similar, commonalities and similarities. And you also mentioned the word honesty, being able to be honest within that relationship. Now this is as you're starting out, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what do you mean exactly, really, when you talking about honesty? Some people think honesty deals with full disclosure. Are you talking about that?
Yes. Yes. Meaning where there were no secrets with us because we spent time together doing everything. We were doing music together. So we were at the studio together. We read the same books and discussed things. And he saw how, the guys that I was kicking it with, and I saw the girls he go out with. So we knew how each other operated.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something where we were trying to put our best face forward. It
Okay.
is, he had been at my house. We've been through situations together as friends that have taken us through, some of the embarrassing times in life, when you're up, you're down, all of that.
Right.
So you have somebody who has seen all of that,
Mm-hmm.
it's, and they still are interested in you,
Mm-hmm.
then there's really not much to be insecure about. A
Okay.
lot of people will ask me, how do I maintain being secure in this type of relationship? And my answer is always the awareness that I am a unique being.
Mm-hmm.
You can only experience this energy from this body here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no need to be insecure because everybody is a unique energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wanted to spend time with another woman, that would make sense to me because I'm like, I'm sure there's something interesting and great about that person because they are a unique energy source unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of opening yourself up completely to not have anything that you're hiding, like this is the way that I like to date, this is the way that I like to eat, this is the way that I sleep, this is the way that I speak, whatever it is, you just show your full self.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you can do that through friendship.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because you're really not, I mean, if they're your true friend, you're really not trying to put your best face forward for a friend. It's like, oh, he's just my friend.
Wait a minute now. How come we don't put our best face forward for our friends? We just,
Because you can just be you. And I think that's where, well, from there till now, as we've grown, it's like, well, you want to make every situation like that once you have that.
uh-huh.
Before, you can be in situations where you don't know if people are going to judge you, where you don't know if people are going to, if you're going to lose opportunities based on not being a certain way. But once you get over that,
Mm-hmm.
the moment you experience somebody loving you completely for you,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to go back to anything else.
So some
So,
of that is some self-love.
yes.
Okay, so now uh what kind of journey was that or is that for you from, you know, who you were and who you are now? And the at that particular time when you and CJ were just friends. I mean, there was a journey into self, self acceptance. And so tell me a little bit about that.
The journey into self acceptance. Well, I came out of college, I was really overweight. And I think that was the beginning of it.
Mhm.
Excuse me. When I first decided to change my body
Mhm.
because I wanted to be able to do everything I wanted to do dancing, and it was hard for me to squat and jump, and so there were things that I wanted personally for myself.
Mhm.
And changing my body, one, it let me know once I got married, because he married me when I was over 300 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that, he likes different shape. When most guys like all different kind of body shapes. My sister would always say, he married you as a big woman. So when I slimmed down, I was like, he didn't marry me for that. It's apparent, otherwise he would have been like, you're getting too thin. Or so the journey just kept confirming that it's not anything that is based solely on the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey into self-love, actually it started before then, because being willing to be my authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
I think that is what even created the pathway for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't aware that he was even interested in me for a while. I thought we were just friends. I didn't have any idea that he had any kind of romantic interest, anything like that. We were just friends. And he actually looked like my brother. I didn't see him as he really did physically look like my brother.
Right.
And so I think the friendship developed so naturally
Uh-huh.
because of that, because of him watching me go through that journey of dealing with myself and wanting things for myself, and then figuring out why what I was doing before wasn't working,
Right.
and being able to have the courage to let that go
Mm-hmm.
and make room for something else. And so that's where self-science came in.
Okay. 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 So, and then, so making friends with yourself first, okay, led you into your own self science for healing. And as a matter of fact, um, the self science of healing, they are in. I heard now. What is that, like a medical? You've been studied, right, by a particular medical industry because of your techniques that can help bipolarism.
Well, I had a friend that did an article.
Mhm.
She is in mental health and wellness and psychology. And so her name is Natalie Williams,
Mhm.
Professor Natalie Williams. She wrote an article and did some research on what self science is and how it can be beneficial, or how it can change the paradigm in the mental health field.
Mm.
And so I will have to find out more about where we are with that article. I do believe she got it through the peer review.
Mhm.
And so, but as far as self science goes, it's just what I just started to pay attention more.
Yeah, because I wanted you to break down what self, science
So,
means.
so the self, anytime I say self,
Mhm.
what people refer to as God or the creator or source,
Mhm.
that is the self in all things.
Mhm.
So whenever I say self, that's what I'm referring to, the actual self, and not the illusion, the thing that fades away.
Okay.
So working with that aspect of who I am, that thing that can, I've closed my cervix whenever I needed to. It's that. Sometimes it's challenging to articulate it,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it is that the power that can move and create,
Mhm.
and you can tap into that. It is who we are.
Right.
So that's what I was beginning to make friends with.
Okay, great. Because see, to me, you're still describing, different approaches to love, and that love starting as sounds like what you're saying is ridding oneself of the illusion of this, as you said, that fades away. Uh, while you did, and you didn't think you were being well, according to CJ, he really wasn't thinking about, that type of relationship, uh, with you either. Y'all were just friends, and he made a list of his, and he was sharing it with you because y'all were friends and y'all shared so much together. Now, go back to that moment.
At Riverside, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, that grin.
Yeah, that
We
night.
very seldom get to see a that big grin on your face, but there's that grin.
Yeah, my
Riverside. All right,
that was a good night. Yes.
because we're still dealing with friendship at this point.
Well, I'm not sure. I watched his, and I don't think he shared about me telling him about how serious he was, and he had to do something to lighten up or be silly and scream and yell out and just express yourself, because he
Right,
was always so reserved and serious, and that I was a little weary about that. Like, that may not work with me. So when he wanted to kiss me, that was one of the things. It's like, you gotta scream, you gotta do something and get out of that little box. I felt like he
now
was in.
did he read his list off to you?
He did.
What do you think
Well,
about that?
he told me about his list, and he
Yeah.
was like, you match all of these things. And so I was like, okay. But right after that, when we were talking about how he made the list, because he was going through the School of Metaphysics,
Yes.
and that's actually a place that we had went together, and then I didn't go back. And he went through the whole School of Metaphysics and to the College of Metaphysics. Um, but when he told me about the list, and I realized that he was speaking on the romantic, that's when I perceived, like, oh, okay, that that's nice. But I still wasn't seeing him that way. So when he asked if he could kiss me, or no, when he kissed me, that's what shifted. That's And I call that man magic. I've talked to my friend Vani about that all the time. Man magic is real. It is so real. They have this energy. So when he kissed me, he looked different. I mean, he looked completely different after he kissed me, and I didn't understand how that was happening, because I didn't have a physical attraction to him until after he kissed me.
Right.
Because he really did. If you saw a picture of my brother and
Uh-huh.
saw him back then, you'd have been like, you sure y'all are not? After that, he looked completely different. And
Oh.
I just, our whole marriage, I've been trying to figure out how he's done the things he's done. So it's remarkable. It's as remarkable as anything that they call black girl magic.
Oh, man magic.
Man,
Ah,
woo, man is something special.
something special. So when he put that kiss on you,
Just, I don't know. It's the same thing. I've often shared the story about how I used to be able to be turned on by just seeing a man's abs, nice arms, nice body. I would be like, yes, ready, excited. You know how you are, 18,
yeah,
19.
yeah,
You get excited about whatever.
right.
Somehow, talking to him for the years that I did, it shifted. And I wasn't aware of it until afterwards. Like, he hadn't even, he's never asked me not to see anybody else. He
Mhm.
just consistently raises the bar so high
Wow.
that, so from that time where I used to get excited by a person's physical, when it shifted to, I would see somebody and I would think, I would normally be excited by this person, and it wasn't there. And
Mhm.
I found myself constantly thinking about him. And I'm like, well, why would I be here with you if I'm thinking about him? That I'm not going to be out of alignment with myself.
Right.
So that's what happened. And I just end up being with him more and more and more and more. He never said don't see anybody. He just kept doing whatever that thing was. And I loved talking to him.
Yeah.
And I still love talking to him. Sometimes we can't get things done because we want to talk. I love talking to him.
Wow.
Always have. And so that would be what I would share as part of loving myself enough to be honest about who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how does that tie into the other question that you were dealing with is which one?
Oh, did you check the phone? It was number 8.
And that's the one where it says about, so tell me about yourself and
yes, that one.
so
So it
because
kind of both.
okay, so and you were able to kind of miss that. So tell me something about yourself, um, because you all had already been friends. For do you remember how long? How many years had you all been friends?
What was it, like 3, 4 years? I got back from 96. Yeah, so it had been like 3. I have to see the years. What did we just did 19? I think 3 or 4.
Help her out, CJ, if you back there. I hear you. It's 3 to 4 years.
96, 97. Yeah, because I came back from OU 96. Yeah, so 97.
So
So yeah,
what's
years.
so important about those expectations, not having to deal with the, so tell me something about yourself, um, to not having to deal with any kind of expectations. You mentioned that he never tried to tell you who and what. Did you have any expectations of him that he had to measure up to?
Well, I wanted to make sure that he was okay with not being exclusive, that he was okay with a polyamorous relationship.
Okay.
And if he was willing to have more than one wife, um, how he saw that fitting into, you know, his his worldview. So that was probably the most challenging one.
Having a worldview.
Right. Everything else we pretty much were compatible on. That was the only one where he didn't have any experience or any concept of how that would work.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't used to a woman, being like, hey, it's not just gonna be us two.
Because you didn't want to get married.
No.
You didn't see yourself getting married, not just to him, but you were totally like, marriage was not going to be one of your things. Why?
Because it's a system of control, patriarchal control. And so because the power structure is set up the way that it is,
Mm-hmm.
I just I never wanted anybody to be able to lock me down. I like my freedom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that was my philosophy. Just I'm gonna maintain my freedom. So I'm gonna be honest with everybody. I don't ever want anybody to feel any kind of way. So I just let people know who I am, how I operate. And for the most part, even dating in college, it was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The boyfriend I had in college,
Mm-hmm.
he was open.
Okay. So now, in terms of a different approach to love, um, what would you like if I asked you for bullet points, or give me a quick rundown of where you see where your approach is different from a, a let's say a traditional, more restrictive. What are some of the key factors in your different approaches to love?
Openness,
Mm-hmm.
fluidity,
Mm-hmm. Now
Like
explain that now.
we
Fluidity.
don't I we don't really stick with traditional gender roles. Like he don't have to do certain things because he's a man. I don't have to do certain things because I'm a woman. Whatever needs to get done and handled, whoever can handle it handles it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning of our, before we had children, he would work for a year, I would stay home, then we'd switch. I would work for a year, he'd stay home. We would just come up with different ways to do whatever it is we wanted to do. So communication is really, really big,
Okay.
really, really big.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say, yes, openness, fluidity,
Communication.
communication. I would put that one first.
Mm-hmm.
Gentleness,
Ooh.
gentleness.
Ooh. How does that fit into the equation of your different approach?
Being willing to accept that everybody makes mistakes.
Mm.
And
Okay. And you see that as being gentle?
yes, being gentle, not having such harsh expectations. Like I may expect him to make sure that the lawnmower has gas.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't, I don't need to jump down his throat.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I can express things without being harsh.
Mm-hmm.
We don't curse at each other, just being gentle,
Mm-hmm.
especially when times are tough. That's when you have to be the most gentle.
Mm-hmm.
When things are kind of easy, yeah, we can be a little snippy with each other sometimes, but it's not. We can see that we're just being a little short. But if things get tough, turn inward and get more gentle,
Ah.
more and more gentle,
Mm-hmm.
so that you're always showing care and concern for each other.
Ah, great. Wonderful.
So that's where the gentleness comes in. It's like he was my best friend before my husband, so I'm never going to cuss him out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not going to cuss him out anyway, because if I'm cussing, that means I've lost the ability to maintain respect with my words.
Mm-hmm.
So we just apply things like gentleness heavy. What's another one? Oh, affection. Affection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Being deliberately affectionate.
Awesome. Now, to be deliberate in your affection, you're talking about because you're a hugger. You're touchy and you like being touched. And CJ, um, is he like that, or he's learned to accept hugs and things of that nature?
He's learned to be more touchy feely, and he's more touchy feely with me, just because he knows that that's a way to communicate love to me.
Mm-hmm.
Give me nice touch
Mm-hmm.
or whatever kind of touch I desire.
Mm-hmm.
Being close.
Mm-hmm.
He's had to work on that more, so he's gotten better at that with me. But in general, he's not just a hugger
Mm-hmm.
or just a close, touchy feely person.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah, that is something that he stepped up for the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But in a sense, it benefits him, so he stepped it up for himself as well.
Mm-hmm. And how does that translate over into uh, your different approach to love with the children? When you see how the two of you interact with each other, how did that uh, spill over into how you would approach loving your children and guiding them in the same way that pretty much with yourself, starting with self-love and friendship and the things you listed.
Well, kind of the same way. We let them see us have conversations. Like if we're discussing something and it's not, anything that is too adult.
Mm-hmm.
If it's we're having a disagreement, we let them see how we disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we just try to include them in on as much as possible because these are the things that they're going to have to learn.
Right.
So when it comes to like discipline, we don't spank, we don't hit. We pretty much come from, actually, no, we do come from a golden rule mindset, which is you treat me the way you want to be treated, and I'll treat you the way that I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of that is making sure that they understand their own autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
I teach them, if there's something you want to know, ask.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really cut and dry, trying to get it as plain and simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're crying about something, I'll tell them, it's good to have a cry. Crying is cleansing,
Right.
but make anything happen. You're going to have to use your words and you're going to have to do what you have to do. But having a good cry is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Male or female.
Right.
Having a good cry is okay. It's just not going to make anything happen. You're going to have to use your words, or you're going to have to do what you have to do.
Right.
So we just try to be as upfront with them as possible, and trust ourselves as much as we can to know what's appropriate. And if we don't know, then we call somebody more adult than us. We call on the elders, because there's always somebody more adult than you.
Right. So, do you think that your approach to love, the different steps you took, can you see how they would work in existing relationships or initial, um, engagements in relationships? Would you prescribe your different approaches to someone else?
Some parts of it, because like I said, I'm a self-scientist, and that means what works for you. You take what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I do often find myself trying to guide people towards the understanding that change is a natural part of life, and that a lot of stories that I've heard have to do with people are like, well, they changed,
Mm-hmm.
Started out in a relationship and then 2 years later they're different.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that as part of your own personal expectations, like, you hope that a person changes and grows, and that's part of what you expect in the relationship.
Yeah.
Upset about it.
Right.
So that's the one part that I would share with people is, people are going to change. You're not going to have the same relationship, especially if you have one that spans 10 years or more.
Right. So you
You're
mean
not.
they can't be like Barry White? Don't go changing to try to please me. You never
Yeah.
let me. So you down before.
I was like, I'll get into it. Yes.
Yeah. So but you're saying, Mr. Barry White, please encourage people to change, because like you said, people are going to change, and a lot of relationships do tend to, well, she changed on me or he changed on me and is not the same person, and now we're no longer we're no longer compatible. So you're saying if we expect change is what we should be expecting in the relationship.
As part of yourself,
Okay.
expect that you're going to change, and then you will understand and be able to accept that in another person.
Okay.
But not putting expectations on them that they must change.
Okay.
Then you could end up being disappointed. But expect that you're going to change
Mm-hmm.
because you're a person,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can accept that in the other person easier. It's
Okay.
I often hear it from the standpoint of it coming from that presenting your best self.
Mm-hmm.
And when people do that and then they get to see the real person, that's where I see that people say, well, they changed. Well, they didn't really change. You just didn't get to see who you were dealing with to begin with.
Okay. So you're talking about that superficiality uh,
Right.
that most people present as their best self, like trying to be the other person's dream girl or dream guy by, making sure that, I'm going to act this way. You carry yourself in such a way that you think that this is what that person is looking for. So you tend to pretend to be all those little check marks. So, thinking that um, that you will become the logical choice for that person. Would you say that in your approach that it's more about helping a person to feel a certain way that can solidify that relationship more rather than uh acting out of some type of logic and reasoning and suppositions and things of that nature?
What do you mean, like helping a person feel a certain way?
Like you said, when CJ kissed you, that man magic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe there's a science to it.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that you can remember a cologne that somebody from college was wearing at a party that happened. The way that those memories are locked in with those certain sensory experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That is a science that can be used, and the ones that know it and can use it well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it can be pretty dangerous. You'll end up like, yeah, we'll all be here together because your man magic is great. We'll build a whole nation because you are able to put people in a space where they're receptive
Uh-huh.
and their memories of you
Yeah,
are wonderful. You
because of the way they made you feel.
yeah,
Okay.
or whatever experience you had,
Mm-hmm.
even if you didn't see it as a feeling, you did have a feeling.
Uh-huh.
And it may have just been the experience, like, oh, we were talking, but there was a feeling going along with that talking.
Right, right.
Sometimes people don't know that an experience does give you a feeling, even if you're not aware of it.
Yes, it does.
But
Yes.
I sometimes guys know that, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah. When you say you saying us females, sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes we clueless.
Yes. We
Yes.
think that an experience can be just
Mm-hmm.
an experience and it does not have feelings in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You end up a little twisted around.
Yes, you are absolutely right about that. Um, so in an existing relationship, you should expect yourself to change, which will help you to accept when the other person changes. And we're talking about non-toxic changes, right?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay. Because I liked how, you said that you and CJ, y'all don't curse at each other. Uh, and since he was your best friend before he became your intimate and affectionate counterpart, um, and then on into your husband, you you wouldn't cuss at him. So you're saying the way that we talk to each other is key, is
no,
vital.
I learned that, yes. And I had to learn that because I come from, that's all I heard growing up. So I had to change myself. There were some changes that I needed to make in order to have what it is that I wanted to have, the kind of relationships that I wanted to have.
Right.
And I didn't want them to have the same energy that I carried from my childhood.
Mhm.
But that's what I heard growing up. So that's the way people spoke around me. So when I became angry, that's the way that I spoke.
Mhm.
And that's not what I wanted. And I understood that it whenever I heard it, whenever I heard people getting upset, profanity was there. And I was like, okay, that language must be seeded with disrespect. I hadn't heard anybody praise somebody through profanity, you know, and give uplifting compliments. That's not the way that I grew up. It was because people didn't do
come out here. Now, you know, today when we talk about, girl,
yes,
that mother so-and-so can really sing. You know,
yes,
such a, you know,
yes.
female, you know, her such a, you know, she can this and, you know, uh, it's
It
changed. People
shifted.
are,
It
yeah,
has shifted,
yeah,
but I don't think that the seed from which it was grown has changed, which is
right.
why we
In a
often
relationship.
children,
Yeah.
you know, like, well, no, it has to do with relationship with people.
Mm-hmm.
So it it's the same, even if you're dealing with, it's modeling. Like, if there's something that I want, I can't say you got to be this way and I won't be an example of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you want affection, be an example of affection. If you want respect, be an example of respect. So for me, I had to learn that the shift in my language, why that was, why that language came out mostly when I heard fighting and arguing. That's why it came out with me when I was upset and angry, because that's where I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to shift that into I can speak to you with respect no matter what. No matter what. And for me, I've never shifted that around. If a 7-year-old is not allowed to say this in certain situations, that continues to tell me that we still have it connected to a level of respect.
Okay.
And so I don't shift that around based on age or gender or because he's my husband or I'm his wife. It's across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's hugging somebody, it CJ is my example of how to love the world.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I would wrap that up. Like, I would say that a different approach to love is that person that you're loving,
Mm-hmm.
applying that to the world.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think that that is a great way to wrap up our session. Um, is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with before we have to do our little closing together? Is there an encouragement that you can give, you know, to my viewers in their different approaches to love?
Um, just one question. Just always ask yourself, is this something I would want done to me, said to me, thought about me?
Mm.
First with yourself and then in your love relationships. And you'll find that it really dramatically will change the way that you operate with the person that you're looking at. If you say, before you speak or act, would I want this said to me or done to me? And in the beginning, it might make things go quiet for a little bit, but eventually you're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find your groove of, now I'm treating this person the way that I would want to be treated. And they are reciprocating because I'm putting out what I want back.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, we thank you for taking some time out of your schedule, because I know when you perform, you usually have to, you know, take a break and rest and, you know, get back into the groove of, you know, things, going from stage back into motherhood and wifehood and
Ooh.
friendhood and all them hoods. You all them hoods, all them frequencies, all them frequencies. So we definitely appreciate you. And now it's time to say
Be
Be different and
love
love
it.
it.
Yes. I really enjoy what you're doing. This is so
Thank
wonderful.
you. Oh, and before I go, I have to always try to, get my pinwheel love. Get my
Oh, wait, is it gonna spin?
look. Let me do it this way.
Oh, that makes me think of Rashonda because it looks like bees.
Yes. So this is Deborah Faye from the Deborah Show with my beautiful special guest. You want me to, you want me to say a Kamaye, change in frequency? That's your spiritual name, a Kamaye.
Akamaye, Lakeisha, Akamaye, Vision, changing frequencies of so many names, but
Oh,
only one reality.
I got one more request before we actually head out of here. Can you do my favorite one, which is I am not my body. I am, what's that? Pure source
Oh,
energy.
focus.
Yes. Would you do that one
Yes.
as we close, please?
All right. I'm more than my body. I'm focused. I am more than my feelings. I'm focused. I am more than my thoughts. I am focused. I am pure source energy and I'm focused. I am focused. You are focused.
I love that. That will always be my favorite
I'm glad you
because it helped me when I first heard you sing it. It helped me to be able to remove myself from the illusion of all of this, and I'm so appreciative to you, of you, towards you, for all of the great uplifting songs that you know you pour forth from yourself. you know um the other one is I Am Your Sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
just about all of everything that you do is a different approach to love to me. That's who you are to me. When I see you, I see different approaches to love because I listen to your music. I try and to attend, some of your workshops. And as an individual, and I watch your beautiful girls, y'all my little divine magical family. I love your husband. You're just, you're just a frequency, sure, of love to me when I see you. And I love the fact that you love to hug. So
Oh, spirit hugs. This
yes,
corn. Oh,
yes. So
spirit.
this is the Deborah Show. Willingly, you all enjoyed my special guest. Make sure, tell them how they can get your CD.
All right. It is on most streaming platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. You can get it at changingfreak.com. FREQ is how you spell the freak. Changingfreak.com.
Yes. So make sure that you support her and get this fantastic album, CD. This is a gift for sure to humanity. I want to, yes, go ahead.
I will be participating in Factory Obscura's mixtape, this year's mixtape. So look out for that. I will be writing on the topic of hope.
All right. And the two of us are here live in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the heartland, the land of prosperity. And we've got some excellent talent here. Um, thank you again. Thank your husband. I thank your family for allowing me to, be able to sit with you, for a few moments to share your different approach to love. And I want to give a shout out to my network, WNT9 Network, NT9 Network. And if you want to check it out, go to YouTube and just type in WNT9 Network and, subscribe. And also subscribe to the Deborah Show. Leave respectful comments. Y'all, please don't leave me them links to them dating sites, okay? Because I'm going. That is not a different approach to love. I mean, well, it could work for some people. Uh, it is, right? Just
It
don't
could be
leave it in my comment box. Come on
right.
there. Just come on there and drop I had one this evening. You just, come and drop this dating site, link in there. Different approach to love. Hey,
They're like, hey, this is one. I
this,
love what you're doing. Thank you so much. This is beautiful.
thank
Like I
you.
really enjoy, like I watched CJ's, I watched Proverbs. I mean, that's really good. And I watched Divine, the sister I met at
Rasun,
Rasul.
Rasun.
Oh man, Rasul.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
really, really good. So I'm so grateful that you're doing what you're doing.
Well,
And
thank you. My idea, well, actually, the network approached me, the brother King Henry, and he approached me, and he's in Newark, New Jersey, and he has a podcast show, the King Henry show. So WNT9 Talk Radio Show, NT9 Talk Radio Show deals with a lot of different topics. Our concern is with people who feel alone. We are wanting to this is our way of trying to uplift humanity. But he approached me and thought I would be a good candidate for doing the love section for the network. So shout out to WNT9 Network and all of my WNT9 Network family. I appreciate you all so much. Also support WADA, WADA, Women Against Domestic Abuse, wadanow.org. That's WADANOW.org, Women Against Domestic Abuse. Come on, yeah.
yes.
Mwah.
Spirit hug.
Oh, ah.
Yes.
And while we're leaving, CJ, I know you back there. I want that banner, that curtain, that thing hanging up behind Kamaye. Yeah, we're gonna be, chatting as we go off air. Uh
Yes.
all right, everybody, be good to yourselves. Uh, be different and love it. Send yourselves and everyone some pinwheel love. This is Deborah Faye of the Deborah Show. Till next time.
You're so beautiful.